r/ask Reddit. What is something you will never be able to tolerate? The sound of my own voice on a recording. Mine sounds like someone high-pitched my voice and is mocking me. I hate that bitch on recordings. She's so rude. Mine sounds like a 12-year-old being strangled. No wonder no one takes me seriously on the phone. Edit. No, I've never heard of strangling or been strangled. Yes. Sort of like Bart Simpson. Yes. American Catholic school. Once had a nun squeeze the back of my neck so hard it felt like I was being strangled. No, it's not a fetish now. Edit 2. This is now my second highest ranking comment. Right behind 2 words. Burt Macklin. Thanks you beautiful people. Edit 3. It is a fetish. I lied. When the page doesn't fully load by the time you click on something, then bam it does and everything was shifted and look, you just clicked on an ad and you're being redirected to a new page. I have to log into the cloud every day at work and there's a stupid questionnaire that pops up exactly where the continue button was half a second before and it drives me insane when I press it. When I log into my email at work there's a pop-up asking if I want to save my credentials on that computer to save time logging in next time. There's also a checkbox to not be asked again. The first time that happened, I checked the box and said I don't want to save my credentials. I've also done it every single time I've logged in since. People that enter somewhere busy like a Costco, find the worst choke point like the exit, then stand there and go through their bag looking for a napkin or some other shit. Move to the side. There are dozens of people trying to pass you. Okay, the amount of full-grown adults who are unaware of their own surroundings is wild to me. All it takes is like 3 steps to the right or left and you'd be out of the way. Plus slow walkers. Also those certain individuals who just leave their cart in the middle of the aisle or in a busy area. Like, dude, I will move your cart to a place where you can't find it. Don't test me. Geez, I just really hate the grocery store on busy days. There is a surprising amount of people who get off escalators, take 1 step forward and then stop to look where they're going next. It's quite possibly the worst place of all times to stop and block people behind you, cause they cannot take a step back without falling or hurting themselves. Why the duck can't people take the extra 5 steps to move to the side and then look around? It is really not that hard and I assure you, you won't get completely lost or unable to find your way back. This makes me so frustrated. Haha. People who borrow stuff and never return it. Or damage it and return it. I lent a basically new book to a buddy and when I got it back it looked like a library book after 40 years. And the thing I don't understand is he never even finished reading it. How did it get so ducked up if you couldn't even be bothered to read it? He probably left it in his car. People who cut in line. Impatient, inconsiderate mother duckers that they are. Oh man. Recently a girl and her 3 friends cut in front of me in line for the school shuttle bus. Mind you, some of her friends felt shitty about it and she convinced them it was no big deal. To add to that bullshit, she also started to complain about people who confront her about it. Said something along the lines, "See what I did there? Although I don't get why people complain. It's not such a big ducking deal. We all get on the ducking bus." Okay, yeah, if that's the case, then why the duck are you cutting in line? Cut back, right in front of her. Why would she complain? It's not such a big deal. You all get on the bus. People in a position of power being an a-hole nasty to people below them for no reason. They forgot where they came from, or were never there in the first place and have never appreciated what they were given. This happened with an old co-worker of mine. She was a tech in the pharmacy, then went to pharmacy school and got hired as a staff pharmacist at our store. Said she specifically wanted our store because she'd known all of us for so long and our crew was a rare thing to find. Proceeded to be the worst pharmacist, to date, that I have ever had the misfortune to work under. Constantly sent back scripts we'd typed, which lowers our numbers and hurts our metric score, and sometimes refused to tell us why. We'd have the pharmacy manager and other staff pharmacist look at them and they sometimes couldn't even spot a mistake. She'd continue to send them back. Mocked any genuine mistakes we did make with comments like, "Where did you go to school? Did you even read this? OMG really?" If she didn't like a patient or if they were filling narcotic pain medicine or Subutex Suboxone, she'd pad the wait time, sometimes by hours, or tell them the drug was out of stock when it wasn't. wrote people up for the pettiest nonsense and sometimes goaded the tech who is famously a bit neurotic and has mental health issues. The market manager mysteriously moved her to a store in the next city and she had no choice in it. She tried claiming our manager was being sexist but her replacement was female. Difference of night and day, and we no longer leave work in tears. Not covering your mouth when you cough. I cough into my elbow so as to not get germs on my hands, but everyone thinks I'm dabbing all the time. Just before you cough say yeet so they know that you are dabbing, instead of just thinking. People who don't indicate when driving. I am now driving. This guy is great. Being rude to employees. Look, the 18-year-old kid working at McDonald's is not the one setting the price for your nuggets. The Geek Squad technician would probably prefer to not be here right now. You are not the most important person in the Applebee's waitress life today, and you will likely be forgotten about once you leave. You, as a customer, aren't that ducking important, and you being pissed off about anything is likely out of the control of anyone who makes minimum wage plus. Literally, people do not seem to understand that being a decent and considerate person will make you and the employee's time more bearable. As someone who has worked in customer-facing jobs for years, this pisses me off no end. Being a dong to the employees is also how you get the absolute minimum out of them. People being rude to service staff. This is the one that gets me. If we go out to eat somewhere and you are rude to a server or someone else that's working, duck you. I'm out. I recently left the service industry after 8 years and my stress, anxiety, blood pressure and excess weight have all dropped dramatically. I almost feel like I've been reborn. I just could not take the abuse anymore. People who are completely unaware of their surroundings. I'm talking about Karen who puts their cart diagonally in the aisle and blocks you from getting through and makes it seem like a huge inconvenience that they had to move their cart. I will move people's carts if they have done this. Easy fix. No need for any passive or overt aggression from anyone. Karen usually gets mad, but you can just keep walking. I like putting expensive non-perishable items in their cart when they aren't looking. Hello, 2-pack of 128 gigs of RAM. I'm a pretty mellow guy until my earphones get yanked out of my ears. Or people bothering you to take off your headphones only to ask for a smoke. I'm not even smoking and don't smoke. I was enjoying a cig outside King's Cross station in London, and I had a guy approach me asking me for a light. He was happy to oblige. After all, he wasn't asking for a cigarette like the vast majority of people approaching me do. On giving him the lighter, he said, "Any chance of a cigarette I can use with this lighter?" It was clear at that point I had been bested. I had to give him a cigarette just out of grudging respect for the sheer cheek of it. Unnecessarily rude individuals. Duck you. Glad you're not talking about me. People who walk slowly in front of you on the sidewalk or in hallways, and they manage to meander to get in your way still when you are trying to overtake them. I'm got annoyed just reading this edit. Got should have been conjugated as getting. I was too annoyed to grammar. Lactose. I'm lactose intolerant. I was lactose intolerant. Then I developed the gut enzymes to tolerate it. Then I got sick and lost them all. Now I'm lactose intolerant again. Animal abuse. There is a special place in hell for these people. My daughter watched John Wick with me once. At the end of the movie, I asked her if John had gone a bit too far. Daughter, he didn't go far enough. I love her, but she kind of scares me. People who make fun of overweight people exercising. Of course, people shouldn't judge others by the way they look, so making fun of an overweight person is already bad. But when I hear someone making fun of an overweight person who's exercising, it makes me really angry. I usually feel the need to give a lecture about life to the wannabe joker. I am not here to protect overweight people or advocate FA. I just know that in my country, life is better for you if your BMI is somewhere between 19 and 25. And I know that while almost always possible, it's not easy to lose weight. So why the hell should people make fun of someone who's engaging a tough journey to get better? I was a fat guy. I took up exercising. I'm now less fat. I see a large lady out power walking when I run home from work. She always runs with her head down and doesn't look up as she shuffles along. I really wish she could know how much respect I have for her. Making that first step to leave your house and start exercising is such a tough thing to do. I would procrastinate to avoid going as much as I could. She's out there and she's doing it. Speed doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. She's actually doing it. And that's all that matters. Edit. Many people are saying I should tell her. Not a chance. When I started out I just wanted to be ignored. I didn't want to attract attention in any way. If anyone had tried to talk to me, despite the headphones, even to say something positive, I would have been mortified that they had even noticed that I was a fat guy running. Upvoted you because of edit. The best way is to acknowledge that by smiling if she ever makes an eye contact. Animal and child abuse. Edit. You people really like twisting what I'm saying. I don't condone any kind of abuse. Those are the two kinds of abuse that popped into my head first. Also, no, I'm not vegan and I don't have any plans to stop eating meat. I'm not going to go back and forth with anyone on this, because quite frankly I don't care. If you don't like then oh well, that sounds like a personal problem. Your opinion doesn't mean anything to me, random strangers. Abuse in general. I can tolerate drug abuse way more than animal child abuse. People that don't pick up their dog's shit. Sometimes, I get it. Your dog is off leash and you didn't see it. But keep an eye on your dog and pick that shit up. Edit. Since this is a fairly widespread misconception, I figured I would clarify and correct. Dog poop is not a fertilizer. The food we feed them means that their poop is toxic and kills plants. When you see patches of brown on a field or lawn, this is likely why. Source. Add to this, people who don't walk their dogs on a leash. I get it. Your dog is friendly and won't hurt anybody. But my dog is aggressive and overprotective and will attack your dog if it runs up on her. Walk your dog on a leash to keep everybody safe. Please. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures. And the Dutch. Is this it? Are we finally reaching the point where most people don't get Austin Powers references? Today's a sad day. Looking at the rest of your replies, you realize hardly anyone knows Austin Powers. Loud chewing. Edit. Thank you so much for the silver and platinum. Let's celebrate our hatred of loud chewing together. I have a co-worker that chews loudly but also with her mouth open. So it's the chewing along with spit smacking. Loud chewing and open mouth chewing never bothered me too much before until I met her. I had this issue with some kids. I started playing videos of pigs eating when they did that. They are careful about it now. They didn't realize how closely they resembled the sound of the animals. Being intoxicated, distracted, under the influence while driving. Yeah, sure, put your life on the line. It's your life. But duck you once you will fully put someone else's life at risk. Wet socks are pretty damn terrible. Parents that raise their children to have the mindset that they are entitled to everything. Rubbing two pieces of polystyrene together makes my teeth feel like they wanna shatter. People who mindlessly repost things without fact checking. I read somewhere that it was really Mussolini who sank the Titanic and flat earthers are blaming icebergs in an attempt to speed up global warming. Yes, that is correct. Being rude to a cashier/server/cleaning people. You wouldn't speak to them like that if they were on the other side of the register, so why the duck would you do that when they're at their job? The frustration is towards a company but it's misplaced on the person providing the service. If they're shitty, respectfully tell them you're unsatisfied and leave. Hurting the vulnerable. Children, elderly, the infirm, the vulnerable, the helpless, animals, bullying, etc. They can't fight back. You want to lay hands on something. I'm right here. I can fight. I volunteer. But it's not the same power trip when what you hit hits back, is it? Also scamming, taking advantage of the vulnerable. This too. Stealing from the homeless when you got money and a roof over your head is rotten as shit, as well. A guy I shared classes with in high school back in the early 90s went to prison for a good, long, well-deserved time for being in a group of juveniles that stomped a homeless person to death. And, looking back with what I know now, I'm honestly surprised the police even investigated. Slow car on left lane. Not in my country. As a Brit, my immediate thought was that is where they are supposed to be. Willful ignorance. We have more knowledge at our fingertips now than at any other point in our history. There is no excuse for ignorance anymore. More knowledge, but also more misinformation. Having a big library that's filled 70% with bullshit is useless if you can't separate the non-fiction from the myth. Ducking this, I have a certain family member that gets all up on that high horse of "I've lived a lot longer than you have" as a way to shut down someone that's correcting an easily researched fact, and my only response last time was like, "You got out of high school in the 50s and haven't attempted to learn anything since." Sane person thinks Pat Robertson is just the greatest, though. So I should have realized that there was something seriously wrong 20 years ago. I have since distanced myself from them as much as possible. People talking texting in movie theaters. Beating children. Also, beating to children. Hypocrisy. To be fair, we are all hypocrites at some point in our lives. The question is if we are cognizant enough to realize so. Loud, wet chewing, lip smacking. My old roommate used to eat like a ducking camel, and I would lay in a ball on the couch trying my best not to just supernova right there in the living room. I swear to God that sound haunts my dreams. I hate conflict, so I never knew how to explain why I was folding in on myself like an envelope every time he had dinner. So yeah, that, and obnoxiously loud motorbikes. For me, it is people who refuse to accept that their worldview is wrong or based on an incorrect assumption. If someone comes to you with irrefutable proof that there is some form of flaw in your logic, then all I ask is that you sit down and consider the possibility of you being wrong while having a civil conversation. People don't like admitting they are wrong. It may come in time. Anti-vaxxers. Their stupidity creates a health hazard for all of us. Ick, now what, I'm feeling extra dangerous today, and I'm just gonna be completely honest. I just don't think I'll ever be able to tolerate purist people. What do I mean? People who feel like the gatekeepers of every hobby. I'm a DJ and I've met a few vinyl purist a-holes who put down a lot of kids starting out on their $250 controller. But guess what, purists? Those cheap controllers can do everything your oldest turntable can do and more. So sit back and watch as those kids keep practicing and show you up. And yes, goddamn you, I can scratch on my controller. I don't need a ducking needle to do that. People who clap with every syllable to make a point. Dogs that can speak German. Entschuldigen Sie, was der Fick? People who talk very loudly on the phone and play stupid clips and videos on it. Again, very loud, especially in public. Ugh. Also just loud noises in general. I got a sensitive ear. D. Teachers, professors, instructors who are really insecure and take it out on students. Like, you ask a question about the way they did something. Why did you take points off for that? Don't we have to move 20 yards during that choreography? etc. And they take it as a personal offense and get defensive and beachy. I instantly lose all respect for people like that. The sound of someone hacking up a Luigi. That big ball of flame they draw up from the back of their throat like a sticky demon from hell. Edit. Everyone has the right to do this when they're sick. It's gotta be done. I just can't tolerate the sound. So if you be sick, do your thing. But I'm still gonna gag about it. Edit 2. China sounds scary. Unseasoned food. Overseasoned food. At least you can give unseasoned food a boost. Most of the time you can't go back on overseasoned food. Who doesn't keep things clean when living in shared house? Wash your damn pots and dishes after use. People leaving shopping carts in the lot. How far is it to the cart corral? Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.